right, so we are live. Let me flip the screen though. I don't want to share that screen. Yeah, the news is dropping. Must not have. Well, the initial pullback is down, so a lot of times the initial pullback is down, it goes the other way. But let's see. So we're gonna let the news settle. Let's just talk about the markets, kind of where we're at. Obviously, we have that non-farm payroll that's playing out. Let's talk about the SPX briefly. The interesting thing on the SPX, guys, is as y'all know, we've been following this line here. It's rejected off of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So it's a critical level. If this can hold above this line, guys, the lengths of where we go, we'd have to go to a higher time frame, right, to pull out to see. But I mean, we could see as high as 43.25, right? Because there's really not a ton stopping it, if it breaks that trend line. So going to be a really really impactful day today on where that goes. So my thoughts is if the news came out bullish, we're going to see a nice little wick up, but at the same time, we definitely have a gap to fill, and y'all know how I feel about that, right? You can see the long wick down, long wick up. I mean, they're clearing stop losses, clearing out liquidity. I'm not taking any calls up here. I still won't. That's just me. But trade your range. Let's talk about the SPY. So let's talk a little bit about our plays yesterday. So we'll go to where is it? Where were we? Here we go. All right. So here was our plays yesterday. We did have a short on the open that we took. There was a long call that just played out phenomenally. It did do a quick short long flip, which was kind of interesting, right? But the interesting part is this short actually flipped back, so it actually hit profit, right? TP1, and the long, as you see in the pre-market, is actually playing out too. So even though it did a quick flip, I mean, no matter which direction you were going, you were right, on the scalp. So pretty cool how it kind of played out that way, right? Now, what I wanted to talk about a little bit on the SPY is you can see that on the pre-market we are above our red line. This red line was pretty significant because it goes all the way back to here, which is back in December. So we have a touch. It tried to break, it couldn't, rejected. We had a rejection here, had a rejection here, and we had a rejection here initially, right? So kind of like the SPX, right? If we can hold above it, I would say the high is going to be somewhere around 429, maybe 431. I'm going to put a line here actually, because I'm telling you guys right now, if we hit this right here, 431, that rejection is going to be pretty sick. Even if it's just a pump to 431 and a rejection all the way back down to 421, right? But I mean, that's a big spread. You can make $10,000 on that spread with just minimal contracts, right? But so far the pre-market is just absolutely booming. If you're like me and you want to stay on the put side with us pumping, just don't just enter a put. Wait for some form of confirmation with the pullbacks, so you don't get caught, right? Because we could easily explode up to this way here. So we'll, if you're not sure, you're hesitant, come into the room and trade with us, right? So, but the news must have came out a little bullish. Remember we said the initial pullback was down, so typically that's a fake, and that played out perfectly because you can see we're pumping. So the interesting thing, guys, I'm gonna touch on is I'm gonna skip the Dixie and the VIX for now, but I want y'all to think about this. Crypto is not reciprocating what the stocks are doing. What does that mean? What that means is either A, stocks are going to hold strong and they're going to pump, and crypto is going to catch up. We're going to go from 27K to probably 29, 30K in a matter of hours, right? But the flip side of that is, even though the crypto did not come down with stock or go up with stocks while they're going up, that just means that that particular sector is not as confident in the markets as the stocks are, right? For other economic reasons. But because crypto may be holding more bearish, the moment the stocks flip bearish and begin to come down, it almost is certain to bring crypto down with it. So we could see a pullback from here as low as this lower. Let me mute this harmonic one here. So what I would recommend is, if you're looking to kind of see where that like early fall could be, you could take some peaks in here, right? Like you can see like this one right here is pretty accurate as far as where it bounced right there and right there, right? So if we break this line here, that's when the fall is gonna come. As far as the gap fill or the bounce, if we open up and we start to pull back, we're likely to see a pullback somewhere into here, at least to get the gap fill. So if I'm going to measure something like that, I'm going to pull probably like that, and then just kind of follow this channel. So a pullback to this lower range here would be kind of where that would play out, right? Which is like 394, which is a huge fall. So the localized, pullback would be more like 413, 414. If we break that level, this is a great one to have here, guys, just because if we do break that level, then, we may be on track to pull back to here. We would still have to break this support here, which is 404, right, before that happens. So, and we likely need some news for that to do. Now, if this were to break, that is when we will finally see the pullback in crypto that we've been talking about for the gap fill. So if you zoom out on the crypto side of things, right, we have been measuring this. We've talked about this pattern here quite a bit, so I'm just going to pull that out. But on the crypto side of things, the upper and lower channels still remain the same. We can see as low as 23. Likely our retest is at least going to be to retest these previous resistance levels down here around 25. So if we do see that pullback in the stocks, that is probably what's going to be the part that actually pulls this downward. If we do pump up in crypto, I would imagine we're going to smack our head somewhere around 28.1. If we flip that 28.1, that's when you want to take that long once it retests for support, because we're almost certain to come up at least to 29.8 or so, somewhere in this range, or possibly a retest of 31. But we have to flip this downtrend line. So if you're not following this one, please do on the 1 hour. It's just 2 points here, but you kind of have a third point there. And but it's got to flip that line. Otherwise, we're just trading in this range, and we got some downside. On the other side of the indicators, we do have that bullish divergence call, right? So that could be playing out. Also, y'all know I've been seeing an initial pullback shoulder come up, and that could be our explosion, right? So just be careful with that when you're trading your shorts. We do have some bullish patterns playing out on the 1 hour. We talked about this yesterday. We actually called it like back here, right? So we do have kind of like that double bottom, pull up. We did retest as support right here. If that continues to hold support on this SMA right here at the 21, then it's almost certain that we're gonna come up here, break this neckline here, and up we go. So for this to get invalidated, I would need it to basically break below here, below the 26.6, and then hold as resistance. If that happens, down we go. So, and that's going to be heavily dictated by the stocks. So let's talk about the VIX. This is going to be what I was referring to earlier, guys. The VIX is like insanely low. So if you look back at the 4 hour, all the way back as far as 2021, the lowest that we've gotten is 1412. The average, kind of in here was 1552. If you think about it, you had a touch here, touch here, touch here, touch here, touch all through here, touch here. Even when we had a touch here, right, you can see it exploded north. That caused a pretty nasty pullback for the market. Touched again, had an exploding, push north, which pulled back the markets. We're actually a little bit lower than we were there. So this is what we talk about in our community. This is landmine area where can we go lower? Sure, right? It's possible. But it's in an area where these explosions happen. That's why we call it landmine area. So if the VIX decides to explode, that just means that the market's starting to get a little less confident that we're going to drive further, and then the markets typically have their pullback. So y'all know that in the short term I've been bearish for the gap fill, but in the long term I'm bullish. So I think we're going to see a lot of explosions north, and we'll talk about that on my ATA, but y'all remember that's why I'm running more longs than I am running shorts, because of my belief on that, right? The one thing you don't want to do as a trader is get blindsided in the fact that we go straight up or straight down. It always is going to do this and then pull back and then this, and it always does that. So you just want to kind of keep in the direction of least resistance, right? So in the short term, the stocks are just they're getting super overbought. There needs to be a cool down. If you see here, we went way up on the SPY. We had our pullback, right? We went way up. Everybody thought we were going straight to 440, 430. We had a pullback all the way to 382. We had another pump up here, as high as 416, still pulled all the way back to 403, right? And not once, but twice. But we've not had our big pullback, right, like we have had here. So we still need to have some form of a pullback. I mean, it could go as low as 397. Now it doesn't have to happen, right? There's no law that says it has to, but the concept is, the markets typically need some form of a cool down period, and that cool down period could come from us pushing as high as 431, right, and then pulling back to retest 411 or 416 before it explodes north. That could be the cool down, right? We don't know where that's going to begin, but in the room we'll talk about the signs that we see. I mean, you can even see on the 1 hour here, right? We're continuously creating 1, 2, 3. Now the pre-market's up here, right? So we have 4 pretty much higher highs, but on the RSI here on the 1 hour we have 1, 2, 3, probably likely 4 lower highs. And so we already are seeing that bearish divergence, guys. So if you took a call anywhere in here, man, congratulations, you made a ton of money. But if you're going to try to take a call up here, you're just chasing. You're going to get wrecked eventually. So best luck to you. So let's jump into, I'm gonna skip through the tech stocks. If you all want to have me do the TA and the tech stocks come in the room, I'll be happy to do so. You can see here, this is already trying to push north here. Remember on the Bitcoin, we could have a weaker shoulder on this side. A weaker shoulder on this side is actually more bullish and adds more strength to the pattern, because it shows that the bears can't even push it down to retest that shoulder, right? So that'll cause an explosion north like that. We have, again, that divergence, because again, on the flip side from look here, we can see it playing out. Look at this, watch this. Right in front of us is gonna pump. But you can see we have our lower lows right here, but you have our higher lows here. So that's the flip side of the bullish divergence. Our indicator called that perfectly. And it, it's playing out right in front of us. So, if I were to anticipate the upside for how high we can go, I would imagine we get some early resistance around 27.8, next resistance level around 28.2. So if you wanted to take some shorts off that, you probably could. I would say be really careful taking shorts right now, because you are in a bullish pattern with bullish divergence on the 1 hour. Now the 1 hour can take days to play out. It could take weeks, right? I mean, it doesn't mean it's playing out right now. So just look for some shorter time frame stuff if you need. So it looks like the last call on the 1 hour was a short, but that played out perfectly right here. You can see it did take its profit there. Let's see what the 2 minutes showing. Just to give you guys a little sneak peek. So 2 minute actually flipped long. It actually just flipped long right here. So the indicators are starting to call that. We do have a little bearish divergence, so here, so may have a little bit of a pullback right before that push north, but that is what the call is for the indicator. So far, it looks like it did pretty well. This short right here would have played out through this drop, this long right here. Had a nice little push up, but either way, you would have been in profit from here. So it's looking pretty good. The interesting thing about this long, though, guys, is one, we have a news event. 2, we also have a back grab and a double top call. So typically we teach in the room, it doesn't mean that the long is not good. What it means is you might want to just hang on, right? Because you might be able to get a pullback and get a better entry off some other technical analysis. So ETH, I'm not going to cover again, too much. I don't spend a lot of time on ETH because ETH is just doing what Bitcoin's doing, guys. That's all. We're at 1893. You can see heavy resistance in here from our zone tracker. We do have a gap to fill here. Actually, it looks like the wick actually caught that gap fill, so that was a perfect call. Small little gap fill to fill here around 1870. Still have a little bit down here around 1830 that we didn't fill, so I would imagine we're going to come revisit that. I don't really see anything up that needs to be filled. A little bit up here around 1940. This 1935 is going to be pretty sick. If we do get an explosion north, look for this line, because if we reject off this, it's going to come down pretty hard. If we can hold this as support, then sky's the limit from there. So that's what I would watch on ETH. On the 1 hour, you can see that bullish divergence played out perfect, pumped it up. It's starting to show a little bit of sign of bearish divergence because we have a lower high on the RSI and a higher high on the candles. So that might just mean a little short-term pullback, which could be what comes back to get this gap fill. We are also high on the channel that we follow. So typically that likes to come back like it did here, right, for those retests. So play your range, guys, if you're trading. I got to jump into the ATAs because we are 15 minutes in. I like to stay fairly accurate there. So I'm going to open up ETH, but those of you guys who know, I use my alerts as my to-do list. We have Aave, ETH, LTC, and Sol. Those are the ones that we were running. We are Aave long. Our short on Aave, we did an existing trade, so let's see if that got out. I didn't want to run the short continuously, so we'll check that. Our ETH... we're going long and short. Our LTC we're long and short, and Sol we actually flipped to long only to combat that. So that gave us 1, 2, 3, 4 longs to our 1, 2, 3 shorts. And once this one got out, we only actually have 2 shorts. So let's take a look at ETH. So looking at the long, guys, we are actually almost out of this long. As y'all know, we've been in this long for a little bit, not too bad, since Tuesday. So it did not hit our second DCA level. It actually pumped up. We are literally licking the take profit line. So, I'm expecting with that little push up we'll probably get out of that, and then ETH will get back to trading. So we will want to watch this, guys. I won't be able to do it right now. Let's just do it right now because I so many people follow me, so I don't like to make changes outside of this video because then people go, why did you change this or that, right? And I want y'all to be able to see what I change and keep me honest. So what we're going to do, guys, just because I don't think we're going to need it, let's just take the second DCA out of ETH by unchecking it like that. This is going to remove that, right? So now it's not going to second DCA. I don't think we need it. And I'm doing that because I don't want to forget about it because it's Friday and leave that over the weekend and have it get stuck in a second DCA when I don't want it to or don't need it to. So I'm just going to uncheck it. I don't know that we need it because I think we're going to get just enough push north here to let that close. So all I have to do is come in here and delete my ETH long, just like so. ATA, Gambit, ETH long. Any change you make, it doesn't matter how small it is on the indicator itself, which is here, you have to go in and delete that alert and then remake it. So all right, so we have our plan for our long. Let's take a look at our short. So our short, if you recall, was also a little bit stuck. So it was nice because if we go up, we win. We go down, we win. The short DCA we had was 1924, probably a little bit higher than we want it to be, but ETH is one of those, y'all know who've been following me for a while, that I run nonstop long and short, and I just manage it, right? So I don't rush ETH out of anything. For the last 4 months, 5 months or so since I've been doing this, ETH always finds its own way out. So the purpose of the ATA is not to rush things, right? You have nothing but time. So if you're running ETH, just leave it. I'm not going to make any adjustments. This was the settings. If you missed it yesterday, just pause to read. So we're not going to touch anything on ETH. So let's go into Aave. And those on TikTok, if you're confused, this is our automated trading portion. So We do automated trading, and I check it once a day. All right, so we are still running our Ave long. It looks like it just needs to go up a little more, about $2. It did not quite hit our DCA level, so we'll see if we get that push north. Otherwise, we're going to fall and we'll hit our DCA level, so we'll be good on that. We did not continue our short. So you can see here we put the existing trade. It did the DCA, it sold the short, which is pretty good, because we have a nice little uptrend here. Let's take a look at where we are in the range. I kind of paused it for now. Yeah, see, I don't know that I like it because, guys, if you look at Ave, although, yes, we have room to go down, there's just so much room to go up. So I'm going to leave the long, but we're not going to run the short. So we know that the short already fired, because if you go to the 1 minute, you can see here, this was the teal one, which means we put an existing trade in. It did take its DCA and it did get out. So we are out of our Ave. So we're going to go ahead and delete this alert because we don't need it anymore. And we just mute this one because we don't need it. We're not going to make any changes to our longs. So we're just going to let that play out. So go ahead and leave that be. Let's see. LTC and then Sol is what we got. So let's take a look at LTC. LTC is so good. This thing just makes freaking money. Look at this, 4 days, $77. All right, on a $5,000 account. So this is the trades this did yesterday. So we took, this was about 8 a.m. Took a really good long here. Nice little DCA, got out, took another long, got out, took another long, got out, another long, got out, another long, got out, right? No DCAs through there. So really played that well. Currently not in a long, so ideally we would love a nice little pullback so it can enter that long. Probably what it's waiting for. We are running short on LTC. Does look like it is stuck. Let's see where it got stuck here. So we only have one DCA. We did not add that second one. I'm okay adding the second one, but it's gonna be somewhere up here. Let's say about $98. So whenever I have an idea of where I want to put it, I'm gonna add that second DCA like that. I already have 9 in there. Let's just see where that puts it. Okay, so it puts it right here on 96. So let's try to put it up a little bit higher. I'm gonna put it at like 10%. And the reason why is I really wanted to move my entry pretty well. I'm good with 97.46. That's fine because I still have a third DCA, right? And this is the previous high is this yellow line. So if you're following me, pause to read that and set it up. So here's our plan. Either we're going to fall, we'll get out and we're good to go, or we're going to pump, we'll DCA. That's likely going to pull our entry up to about 94, which I'm totally cool with. Because we have a lot of volume in here. So even if we do get a pump up, it's likely going to revisit that anyways. So that is my plan for my shorts. If you guys are following along, you want to set that up, by all means, do so. We're going to check out our Sol long. Likely did pretty good because we have been trending a little bit up. As we talked about yesterday, Sol's also creating this inverse head and shoulder. If you're trading it, it's probably going to pop. That's why I'm only running longs. I'm not running shorts. And let's see how it's doing. Doing well. So we started here, our yellow candle. We took a long, got out, took a long. Look at this perfect DCA. Got out, took a long, got out, took a long, got out, took a long, got out. And it's currently not in anything. So we could stop it right now if we want to. Today's Friday. Y'all know that on Fridays I don't mind running a little more overextended on Fridays because that's going to bring us into that weekend. So I'm going to keep the Sol long going. If we want to start the short, I don't recommend it right now because if you go to the 1 hour, you can see we're just near some crazy support levels, and we have a bullish pattern playing out, right? So it's more likely we're going to pump north than drop, which obviously depends on stocks and depends on crypto, right? So let's stop, or we're just going to keep the long going if you're following me. So this is my spread. This is what I'm running. I do want to look at possibly adding something else. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4 longs and 2 shorts. If I want to stay more long, I probably would go with more Matic. Let's see where Matic's going here. Yeah, I think Matic might be a good one to start if I want to do another long, because if you see Maddox actually reverse, it kind of has that head and shoulder, right? So we might, plus you got a rising channel. So we may see a little bit of pullback on Matic. The beauty of Matic is I'm okay with that because we don't have much to pull back, right? So if I have to add a second DCA on Matic, it's totally fine. So I'm going to start up my Matic long and let that run through the weekend, and we will assess that probably Monday. So if you guys want to follow along, you can. You simply go to your gear. We have long, Matic, BitGet is the one I'm running it on, Parabolic SARS, leave that on touch. We're going to use this as our TP, which is default. We're only going to do one DCA because we want to manually set the other one. I'm not going to do a stop loss because I like the project on Matic anyways. I don't think we'll go low enough that it'll hurt me. I'm going to go 6, and I'm going to go 2. We're just simply closing out because obviously there's take profits up here, so it thinks it's already in a trade. We did a good job stopping it, right? Because technically it would be stuck right now, so we don't want that. So, which we have not been in, right? So now what I did is I just simply put today's date. I used the time that is on my trading view. Make sure it says close trade on chart. That gives you your yellow candle. And your yellow candle is basically your start, right? So now from here, all I have to do is click these 3 dots, come in here, click the ATA, Gambit, Matic, long. So I'm actually really top heavy on long, which is kind of funny. It's a little counterintuitive because my belief is that we're going to come down, but I just don't know that we're going to go down far enough that I'm really concerned about getting super stuck in too many longs. And I'm also in a position where I'm still running shorts. I have ETH and LTC short. So even if it goes down, right, I'm still earning, which is the overall goal. So, but if you're following me, this is my spread. We're going to do Aave long, ETH long short, LTC long short, Matic long, and Sol long is what I'm running. So you're welcome to follow. I do have just before 9, so we're going to go ahead and shut down the call here for you guys. I did want to announce one last thing. We're going to talk more about it in the room, but extremely excited. For those who don't know, if you're watching on TikTok or YouTube, we do automated trading strictly on crypto because of the exchanges that we have tied in through our APIs. Many of you guys know we all trade options in our room, and we are really, really profitable at it most days. And so I get a ton of questions of like, man, I'd really love to have an ATA to do options. I'd love to copy trade doing options. We've been held to not be able to do that because of the fact that most traditional, exchanges for stocks and such like that, right? Like TD Ameritrade or Thinkorswim or Tasty Trade, like they don't offer that API that works through that. And so we actually got some pretty exciting news from Tasty Trade that they actually have released an API, and not only that released an API, but their API will allow us to execute trades for options, futures, stocks, like everything that they trade on their platform. So really, really exciting. Their API is like super complex and long, but I'm going to work close with our programmer, Alex, and I think now that we have the door built, right, we'll go in and build the key to make it work. But more to come. But it's extremely exciting, guys, because in the coming weeks or months, we literally could have an ATA that works on a U.S. regulated broker or exchange that actually trades options. So man, it's just gonna be absolutely sick. So it's still early. I didn't know if I wanted to announce that yet or not, but it's exciting. It's not. We have not gone through it enough to say yes, it's done, right? But with that door there with the API, we typically can figure out a way to build it. So more to come on that, guys. So sit tight and check out our trading floor if you're not already in it. We'll keep updates in here on what is to come with that. So appreciate your guys' time. TikTok, sit tight. We'll answer any questions you guys may have here shortly. Those of you watching this in the community, happy Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend if I don't talk to you again. I will be trading today, so I'll send out that link here shortly, and